Okay, I can do this. I can do this, guys. It's been a week, my friends. I have had to come up with some creative solutions to some like real-time problems. And as an Airbnb host, you get it, right? Guests are angry. There's no solution, but you have to come up with one. I'm gonna share with you some really MacGyver stuff in this video, but let me first say I really honestly am just tired. I got back from speaking in Tennessee at this little event, and I got food poisoning the last day. So I'm trying to fly back to Texas with food poisoning. Did not work, and I've just been dehydrated, and I had to move a grand piano after getting back, and I set up a grand piano by myself, tilted it up, put the legs on, like recovering from food poisoning. The same building that we're adding all these pianos in, and one of the guests broke a couch, and the couch was in the closet of all places, and we are missing a couch, so I'm like, we need a couch. I ordered a couple on Airbnb, and they tried to deliver through FedEx, and FedEx screwed up, of course. And because FedEx screwed up, we had to come up with a different solution. And so I found this company called At Home, where, I didn't find them, like they've been around. And I ordered a bunch of stuff. I even bought a bunch of bed sheets from them same time. And I ordered it all yesterday. And this couch, huge couch, came delivered in a box. It's outside there. And we were able to deliver this whole nice couch at a pretty good price. That's the first tip for you guys. At Home does next day delivery. And they did all these sheets, pillows, cutlery sets, and this couch. $39 delivered next day. They showed up on a box truck. I think delivery amount depends on what you order. So I think it's based on the size of the truck. If I just bought sheets and stuff, they probably would have came with the car for 10 bucks. But since they needed to come with a box truck for the couch, it was $39. And you could add whatever else you wanted to that order for the same 39 bucks. So At Home, I think, is better than Amazon for situational last minute, we need to replace something fast, because they have some really good quality couches. They've got these Chesterfields, and we bought this gray Chesterfield for this unit, but they also have these leather ones. They've got coffee tables, and you could buy plants and stuff. So that's one of the solutions. One of my MacGyver tricks is we need to find a way to get a couch downtown Dallas fast. Amazon failed, but At Home came clutch. The next thing that we had to solve is one of the guests claims that they couldn't find a hairdryer today. And for some reason, the girl that runs all of my properties, I basically just took off multiple years ago. She's been running the businesses, ever since. She just has been really checked out, right? And she's just really whatever. She's married and might have issues with her relationship or whatever, but she's just not being nice to guests. She's not responding on time. She's not solving problems, right? And so I see this message. Guy messages 8:30 in the morning, hey, where's the hairdryer? Can't find it. Nobody answers. So he sends another message at 12:30, hello, question. And her response was, if we have one, it'll be in a drawer in one of the bathrooms. That was it. That's really nice, right? And so I respond, I'm like, I think I responded after reaching out to the housekeeper. I told my housekeeper who's cleaning a unit down the street, I'm like, hey, could you find a hairdryer at this property and bring it to this other property ASAP? And the housekeeper was already cleaning, so I blew up her phone to make sure that she got it. And as soon as she said, sure, I'll do that, I reached out to the other guest and said, hey, we're trying to find a housekeeper to dispatch you another blow dryer. Just confirm that you did not actually find it, and we'll have one over to you right away. And so I picked up conversation. That other housekeeper said, I found one. I'm like, yeah, go bring it. And we coordinated the delivery, and then on Amazon, I ordered a couple new hair dryers, right? But my main manager didn't even think to do that. And this is one of the things that I really hope that you guys aren't going through this issue, God, because I do actually believe that this is uncalled for low level quality. And I have to confess that my business really dropped the ball on this guest, and I had to jump in and find a solution. But your team should have this kind of solution-oriented mentality. And if you've got to play like Robin Hood and rob from one property to feed the other because you don't have time to go shopping, and you have a guest in one and not in another one, I would gladly go do that. And I guess that's one of the benefits of having multiple properties. I wanted to talk about prices. I want to give you one of the easiest to digest pricing tips that I can give you. The name for it is really complex, so I'm not even going to say it because I would be betraying the making it easy. But I want you to imagine that you got a reservation. Actually, look at these two. Look at these pieces of art. Let's actually use these. This is fun. Let's say that this is a reservation, and then these are days. Here, this is the gap, and then this is a reservation. Okay. Let's just imagine that this is your multi-calendar. Now, imagine there's a day right here. Okay, or that there's a day right here. Since this reservation exists, this day is really hard to find, okay? So if somebody wanted a reservation that was 3 days long, because this reservation exists, this won't show up. The only way that they could get a reservation is if they actually fit exactly here, that 3-day stay. And because other reservations make your calendar hard to find, that's why what I call adjacent days, that are immediately before or after a reservation, those days are the hardest to search for because they'll need to check in or check out exactly the day that's next to this booking, right? Thank you, IKEA wall art, for the example. So the rule for adjacency is whenever you have a booking, anything immediately after the booking, like if this was a day on your calendar, you should drop that price. Because as people search for it, you're gonna get less total views on those empty dates that are next to other reservations, and you need to increase your conversion percentage. So whenever you have a booking, the day right after, just drop the rate. If it's within like 60 or 90 days, usually. And let me tell you like this. Let's say you have a super far booking into the future listing, like I was just in Gatlinburg. Those properties, people book 8 months in advance. So even 8 months in advance, if it's not peak season and you've got a checkout on a Monday, and you know that Mondays and Tuesdays are hard to get booked, even 8 months in advance, drop that Monday. Make it attractive so that every view for a Monday check-in, they prefer you. Because if you're priced too high, you're not gonna get a lot of views, and you still might lose that booking to one of your competitors and you end up with no Monday booking. Now, if you're like in Dallas like this is downtown Dallas, I could get a booking in 3 days, right? So if I had a booking checking out on a Monday, like 3 months from now, I won't drop the rate just yet. With a studio last minute downtown, or adjacency downtown Dallas, I might 45 days out. I'll start to drop those adjacency days. If you have all the time in the world to get a booking, you don't need to start dropping your rates quite yet, but this concept of an adjacent day, you will get less views. And when you're running out of time, you really need to start to like gamble that day away. So you guys should know your listings better than I. That's why I'm going to speak really broad. A place like Gatlinburg, 5-bedroom house, you may drop your Monday because it's an adjacent day 8 months in advance. Here in Dallas, this studio apartment here, you might only drop it if it's within 45 days. But the concept still applies. You will get exponentially less views on an adjacent day, and that's why you need to drop the prices. One of the things that I did want to tell you before my ADHD went whack and I had to recover by telling you that pricing strategy, like you guys might see my wheels turning and I lost track and I had to recover because we're on a live stream. My housekeepers have tools now, absolutely have tools. And this is something that I should have thought of a long time ago. We normally have handymen come in and do some stuff, but the amount of like walking around I've done the last couple of weeks, we don't call our handymen nearly enough for what they should be called for. So my housekeepers now have Allen wrenches and screwdrivers and stuff like that because they should be going around walking and like shaking the furniture. If you know anybody with loose furniture, let them know this tip, right? Your housekeepers, if they don't have the tools to fix something, they won't even bother checking, right? They should be checking your table and the chairs. They should be checking stuff like that so they could say to you, hey, you should call a handyman to retighten these chairs. But why have that extra step when a housekeeper could just have a wrench in their cleaning kit and they could just go and turn the Allen wrench under the chairs and tighten them themselves? When you empower the housekeeper to do these extra things, they will do those things. So while I was putting together a couch with one of my housekeepers today, we were just tightening down furniture and I gifted her some stuff. I'm like, these are the things that we keep missing because you just don't think to do them because you're not empowered to do them, or you don't even consider it because it's not in your tool bag. And so now she's going through and she's checking nightstands, she's checking headboards, she's checking couches and chairs, and she's tightening this shit down, pardon my French. And this is super important because when furniture gets loose, that's when it breaks, right? You ever seen a wobbly chair is the one that gets fallen through. If you keep these things tight, your furniture will last a lot longer. And empower your housekeepers to do the maintenance for you. I think that's gonna be a big one. I'm probably going to brag about that tip like in a few weeks. I'm probably gonna brag a lot about that. And I wanted to share it with you immediately. P.S. The grand piano that I put together a couple days ago, it smells like cat. It smells like a cat lived in it. I want to tell you that I got a good deal on the thing, which I did. But let me tell you about this fiasco. For context, I want to compete with people by having stuff that other people don't have. And I think pianos have this like perceived value. And I dropped out of music school and I think I can find a good piano. And the most important part of a piano is its harp and then the hammers and its playability. So I'm looking for pianos that have got good harps, good keys, good hammers at a good price. Usually people getting rid of them because a family member died, downsizing. So I find this grand piano for $600 and this family in Oak Cliff is getting rid of it. And I go to buy it and one of the legs is broken. And they did not tell me that. So the movers were like, we can't take this because we can't set it back up. I'm like, hey, what if I bought your piano sled from you so you don't have to set it back up? And the owner of that company said, yeah, for $300 we'll do it. So I called the lady I'm buying the piano from. She said, I told her, well, the movers want an extra $300 because they need to keep it on the sled and they're gonna force me to buy their piano sled because they can't set it back up because the lead's broke. So I'll give you $300 for the piano because I gotta get the movers $300. So I got a piano sled for free, basically, and I've got this piano. And I still have yet to final the repair for the leg, but I got it to work. And the one with the broken leg is the one that I set up. So as soon as I set it up though, broken leg and all, and I open the top up, it smells like cat urine. It's nasty. So not only do I have to get it tuned, but I have to get it cleaned. And I'm a little concerned about it. Super dusty, otherwise a cool piano, but I don't know what the family did to it. And then after it's cleaned and stuff, I think I might want to paint the outside, do something kind of like crazy. I might want to paint it like the Beetlejuice spiral, that black and white kind of thing. Or maybe one of my friends does Baroque Renaissance type painting. I might let him do like a Baroque Renaissance, like realist, like nudist, like clouds and angels and female figures and stuff on the outside. That would be really cool too. So I've got a few ideas for it, but I think once the piano is like a real personality type, it'll be a really cool draw. But yeah, I'm adding pianos in this place. So that's something else that I'm pulling off. I do want to remind you guys, speaking of pricing strategy, one of my students and I, we've just launched a company called Helm, where I'm doing all the pricing for listings and he's doing all the front end because he's probably best in show for guest experience. And we're trying to put Evolve out of business. If you've ever heard of who Evolve is, I make fun of them all the time. They want 10% to do remote management, right? And they just plug you into Price Labs and they just message people on the back end. They don't do jack with housekeepers for 10%. They're terrible with guests for 10%, but they want 10%. So we decided we're gonna put Evolve out of business. We're doing it for 5%. And best in the world at pricing strategy and he does like $5 million, $10 million listings. So he does hyper luxury properties. So he's the best at customer service on guest experience. And so we're launching at 5%. We're taking another wave of clients into our beta program. We're AI driven, which allows us to do a lot of really cool stuff, but then all the final stuff, like myself and him and our team, all the final touch is human. That's our whole thing. Is we do believe technology and algorithms and AI can help run a property management company at scale. But since this is hospitality, especially when dealing with guests, you cannot just send them a chatbot message. You have to make sure that it's tone correct. You have to make sure that you're being empathetic for whatever underlying context there is. There's so much to it. AI does a real good job, but we still need a human touch at the end. And it allows us a lot of really, really cool opportunities. So yeah, Roman, if you would like to know more about Helm, there's going to be a link in the description of this video for that. Now, if you guys want to learn more about pricing, I want you to know I do have a playlist, and the playlist has got a lot of stuff in it. I have a really cool new trick that I'm going to teach in an upcoming pricing video. YouTube's algorithm is busted, and that's why I'm doing live streams, because making real videos apparently doesn't work anymore. By the way, YouTube wants to see a like on this video. Out of all the things in the world, if you could like this video, it would make my freaking day, because YouTube wants to see watch time and likes on live streams. But this new trick will allow you to see to what degree a market is moving in price, and I'm gonna try to explain it here. Go on to Airbnb.com on your laptop, and I'm gonna see if I can show you here. This would be really, really funny if I can do it. So if you go to Airbnb on your laptop, ta-da, Airbnb screen, right? Okay, let's go search for something. Actually, we don't even have to search. See this filters thing right here? There's this spot up top here called filters. And this filters button has this price slider bar. See this pink and reddish mountain right here? I wish this was a touch screen. I'm sorry, guys. This is why it's tough. So this red mountain here, if you move this bottom or top cursor into the center, you can actually see how many listings remain in this black button. So if you're in your neighborhood looking at your listings and it says like there's 300 listings here, you go, you know what? There's a lot of listings out of 300. I want to take the bottom half off. You make this number 150 by cutting up half. You can see what the halfway point price is by looking at this. Now, month over month, that middle point will change. I'm teaching my students right now to say, hey, let's look at March. The halfway point in March might be 200, but you go into July, the halfway point in July might be 450, 500. You can see that your whole market is moving 100, 200, 300% by looking at this price mountain and just seeing what the halfway mark is. There's a lot that we're doing with it. This is brand new. And that's why I'm kind of excited to show you, but that's why I'm doing it like this. I'm going to compose a real video that probably won't get any reach because of YouTube's algorithm. But if you see a pricing video in the future, we're going to talk about this and how to use it more in depth. And it is absolutely sick. If you miss it, it'll go into the pricing strategy playlist. With that said, guys, I just want to say, man, everything's changing. Like the way that we do market research, you guys have probably seen those videos lately. That stuff has changed a ton. And we proved that AirDNA is busted. Like we've proved it in multiple videos where listings on AirDNA don't even exist anymore, and they're trying to sell that data as valid. And the biggest takeaway from all of my deep dive in market research is that Airbnb's algorithm will put on the very first page of search whatever they think you're going to pay for. And if you're going to do market research to find what properties work on Airbnb, the best market research is just to look at the first page of search. But then you have to learn to ask what's here. Like, what am I seeing? Am I seeing a bunch of rooftop decks? Which one of my students, I do my Zooms every Saturday because I had to fly back later because of my food poisoning. I did my last Zoom Sunday, which was yesterday with my students. And I'm helping a student in Tennessee, in a city in Tennessee, try to figure out what's working. And in his town, rooftop decks were making all the money. The same size house with a rooftop deck was making 50,000 more. So a house that made 60,000, if it had a rooftop deck, was making 110,000. AirDNA would not have told you that. Slept the same number of guests, nearly the same neighborhood, and the only difference is it had a tiny rooftop deck. The furnishing wasn't much better or whatever. Like it was all pretty identical. And that's what we try to find when we look at the first page of Airbnb. That's what popped out. I was able to see within 6 listings that Airbnb was pushing these listings that had rooftop decks. Maybe Airbnb didn't even know that, but Airbnb knew which listings were getting booked, so they were pushing them. And then we could see that the customers were buying them because of rooftop decks. Now, we did this in Dubai. You hear me talk about this all the time. Anything in Dubai that has a view of the Burj Khalifa, that really tall, like the really tall high-rise, really cool architecture. If your listing has a direct view from the balcony, that property will make 30 to 50% more like that. If your listing does not have a Burj Khalifa view, then your hero photo is stuck being the pool, right? The same, you got the pool with the Burj Khalifa view. That is going to be your hero photo because your listing doesn't have a view of the Burj Khalifa. And if your hero photo doesn't show the Burj Khalifa, you don't make any money. And we can find this by just being on the first page of Airbnb search. So I will say this is a hot take. The more saturated a market gets, the better it gets for those who want to start. Because Airbnb gives us all this data, right? And all these people are throwing their name into the hat and they're doing what I would call iterations, right? There's all these iterations of listings. And guests will select their favorite iterations, right? And the more thousands of listings there are in a market, and the more time that those listings are exposed, the more we get the customer feedback data, and Airbnb will curate the very best 24-ish listings on the first page. And so between the first and second page, even if a market has 10,000 listings, they just told you how to be the top 50. And that's really cool because any market that has enough business for 10,000 listings has a lot of customers, has a ton of customers. And if you can be one of the very first 50 listings by just knowing what you're looking at on Airbnb's algorithm, and you can copycat well, if you can be a good copycat, you're guaranteed to be one of the top 50 listings, and everybody below you just gets pushed down the pecking order a little bit. So I love saturated markets if you're able to bring the heat, right? That's the thing. I'm gonna say something that might get me sued next. This has been on my mind a lot lately. I'm gonna try to say it in a way that won't get me sued, okay? But I've got a couple students who've come to me, and they've come to me from a program called Staley. Yeah, I'm gonna call them out by name. One woman, her name's Anna. She joined Staley's program, and they offer business credit development and then a done-for-you service where they will find you a property. Well, they dropped the ball. She paid, I think she was one of the $10,000. She paid like $10,000, I believe. And then they help her get business credit, and they want her to draw down that business credit to get a property with Staley. And Staley charges for this service. I just found out today from another student that Staley charges an additional $5,000 for the property. And for this second student, in this email chain I saw, they offered to waive it. So they charge $10,000 to get in the program, and then they charge $5,000 for a property. You know what next? Now they have you furnish it on your dollar, right? And I saw the fees. They want $15,000 to stage a studio. And you guys know, staging a studio apartment's like $6,000, $7,000. So that means that Staley is marking up the furniture. And from my perspective as a 10-year host with 45,000 reviews, I think they're marking up the furniture a solid 100%, like doubling the price of it. So they charge you $10,000. This is what I think I have. They charge you $10,000 to join a program. They charge you $5,000 to get a property. They double the price of the furniture that you pay for. And guess what? When that lease gets signed, it's not under your name. You don't get the property, Staley does. So Staley signs the lease. So they ultimately have control of the property, and then guess what? They run it, and you pay them to run it, and you get a piece. So Staley wants you to spend $10,000 to get on a waiting list, to pay them $5,000 for a property, where then they use your money to furnish the place, and they double the price of it, so they get paid 3 times on the way in, and then they give a co-hosting contract. Ultimately, they get a co-hosting contract out of you, where you paid them 3 different times for the property, and now you're locked in. And they have the property under a lease agreement, which means you're screwed. I have never seen something more false, more illegitimate, more predatory than maybe the days of Cheetah and Brian Page, right? And I don't even think Brian Page even did something this bad. I don't think he did something this bad. It was terrible. I think that's one of my housekeepers, so don't mind her. Hey, yes, you need these? Yeah, so I've got a bunch of sheets for you right there, and I've got more cutlery for some of the units. Leave one of the knife sets here. She doesn't actually speak English, so she might not have understood that. But yeah, extremely predatory. So be careful. Do not use Staley for a done-for-you service. I actually just believe done-for-you services are a little scammy anyway. And the reason why is if you pay somebody to help you start a business and then you rely on them to run the business, it's like my McDonald's franchise. But McDonald's is the best in the world at what they do. So then you pay McDonald's like 4%, right? Everything else is yours, right? But these done-for-you services, they want to charge you 15, 20% a lot of times, maybe sometimes even just 10% for a co-hosting fee. But that's just absolutely nuts at the same time. Where in this industry, it's easy enough to run that if you had a coach like me teach you how to do Airbnb, you shouldn't need a done-for-you service, right? You shouldn't need it. My program, we have this weird guarantee that we started doing, and I'm calling it weird because it's unorthodox. My students have made over $1 billion in Airbnb, and I teach them to pick up their own properties, whether it's co-hosting, arbitrage, or even ownership. We've even added real estate coaches who are buyer's agents in cracking Superhost. And our guarantee is if my coaching team can't help you pick up a property, we'll go get you one. So kind of like a done-for-you service, except it's free. We don't charge you for it because we failed you when you're trying to pick up a property. So we'll just give you one for free. So yeah, that's something that we're doing because I don't believe you should do a done-for-you. I think you should run your own property. And you should have a coach teach you to do it and then not need a coach to keep you on life support where you're constantly shelling out your revenue to a person like me to run your business. You should be able to run it all on your own and keep all the money for yourself. That's just my hot take. Yes?
Elevador?
Mm-hmm.
Una big caja? Boxes?
Yeah. That one's a couch. Yeah, it's un otro sofa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, eso es tomorrow.
¿Solo 3?
Ajá.
Perfecto.
No, 4.
Okay.
En el 206
Mm-hmm.
faltan de estas sartenes.
Sorry, guys. Yo tengo otro, ¿cómo se dice set?
Set.
En 404.
Ya.
Sí.
Y en el... En este. 304.
Sí.
Ajá.
Ok, so dos más.
Ajá.
Ok, cool.
Ya.
Yo tengo uno,
Ok.
solo uno.
Bueno.
Gracias. Buen trabajo. Buen día.
Buen día y hasta mañana. Oh, ok.
Yo tengo. Ciao.
Ok, bye.
Okay, cool. So with that said, guys, day in the life of an Airbnb host. I learned a little bit of Spanish at Texas Roadhouse, and I'm so thankful that I did. Last funny story. This might offend somebody, but I'm finding like what people in hotels call them cuck chairs. They actually call them cuck chairs. It's the armchair that goes next to the bed, and sleeper sofas break, right? And rollaway beds are breaking too, so they require a lot of maintenance, and that's why my housekeepers, they have tools now so they can tighten down the rollaway beds, because the rollaway beds have broken because people aren't tightening down the hardware. And these rollaway beds should last a long time because they're metal frame, but then when they start to get loose and things get wonky, somebody lays on it and snaps some stuff. So because I took 2 years away and nobody was tightening down these rollaway beds, some of them broke. But I found these armchairs, the go next to the bed, and they actually turn into like a cot. They turn into a single cot, and I just assembled one today. That will be in a future video too. Those are really, really cool. I'm sure you guys have probably said some really fun stuff in the chat. And you know the mobile, AK is struggling to find a property in Bergen County, New Jersey, despite watching market research by list. AK, one of your issues is that you're in a market that's what I would call supply constrained. What's cool about New Jersey, next to New York, is you could have a front door in the basement. I'm gonna see if I'm actually gonna show you this. I'm gonna type in Hoboken, New Jersey, and I want to show you what a listing that's like 180 night looks like. You guys might go, oh my God, this is gross. So New Jersey is supply constrained. Let's go here. 178. Okay. So I'm going to, so this is a list of properties. Let me see if I can show you. And I did the filter thing. And it's 178 a night, 136 to 178 a night. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to flexible any week in May. Let's see how many properties are in this price range and where it's at. So this is the price range, the 138 to 170. It's on the lower side of this price mountain thing. You guys will hopefully have to zoom in to see that. Sorry about that. But when we go and actually zoom in into New Jersey, you may not find that there's very many properties in that price range. And when we start to look at these listings, they're not pretty at all. This one's 156 a night and it's brand new. This listing looks like trash right here, and that's 140 a night. This is a private room. It's not even a whole place, and that's 136 a night. This one is ugly as dogs, and it's 156. And like all of these lists, this one's 150, and you can tell by the photos, they are terrible. And my point is that in New Jersey, this is 175 a night, and this is an absolute gross listing. If you look on the coastline, like Hoboken area, New Jersey, these properties, man, they just go for nuts amount of money, even though they're completely ugly. So Jersey is supply constrained. You may not find good properties, but even not good properties make tons of money. It's just kind of gross. So because of this, because it is so profitable, you'll find that picking up a property in New Jersey is going to be hard if you're trying to be on the near New York side of New Jersey, because everybody wants action. And so even my students, everything that I've taught for the last 10 years, we've had to evolve the way that we prospect properties, because everybody's trying to pick up properties the same way that somebody did last year. So the way that I started picking up properties 7 years, I started teaching it. And then like everybody else who's ever picked up properties, they had casual conversations with their friends, they systemized it. Some of my students became coaches, started teaching my scripts. And now today, I've had to come up with systems and scripts and methodologies to pick up properties that I didn't teach 5 years ago, because some of the stuff I taught 5 years ago got played out, right? This is the meta. And as things become obvious, we have to get more creative. So you're not really gonna find listings calling Zillow. You're not gonna call Zillow listings. You're not gonna get on apartments.com and get on these websites that everybody else is using to find properties. I would recommend making friends with local real estate agents that have like lifelong relationships with people in the neighborhood and really trying to build some rapport. I think in this part of the world, having a who you know relationship is going to really pay off. And thanks, Narissa. I'm trying my best to be helpful. Oh, Divine, you want to be a property manager? I could probably teach you to do that. And yeah, maybe you can work in, you might be able to work inside of Helm, because we will be bringing on some people to work inside of Helm for our property management side. You're in Trinidad. That's really fun. You have 6 listings. Congrats. Well, with that said, guys, I just wanted to share a few things. I want to be more connected with you guys, even if I don't say a ton of charming stuff every day. I just kind of wanted to share what was going on. Even my team screws up and drops the ball. The fact that we had to like scramble to give somebody a hairdryer because we didn't find out that there wasn't a hairdryer, and my manager didn't care enough to try to solve their problem, and she just said it should be here. She didn't check to make sure that they found it or nothing. I was like, man, this girl's in a bad mood. I think it is better to show a star effort even if you know you're gonna fail, because the guest will see you like hustle. They'll see that hustle. And they'll go, you know, he really tried. I think that's probably one of the main things that will prevent you from getting a really bad review. I think 1-star reviews come from guests who feel like the host screwed up something and just could not be bothered, right? And they want to punish you. A 1-star review says, I want to punish you. And so if you struggle bust to solve something, even to obvious failure, the fact that you struggle bust, they will likely have some mercy on your soul. And that's how you prevent 1-star reviews, I think. So even if I couldn't get them a hairdryer, right? Even if it wasn't possible, to see me try to come up with a plan that could work, that would have saved us from a terrible review. Because it's this property is this 3-bedroom, like beautiful townhome down in like a Turtle Creek of Dallas. Like things are like $700 a night. And if we got a 2-star review because we didn't have a $20 iron, like a hair blow dryer, for a $20 item, ruins a $700 night reservation, and we get a 2-star review, that would have been brutal. So I don't know what my chick, what she was up to. She's lost her damn mind. And the reason why let me go show you one last thing. This is kind of gross. All right, so this is not old news. I brought this up in a video a couple years ago. These Home Hero knife sets looked so cool when we first got them, but these scratch so bad. I don't know if you can see that? All of these oxidized blades start to look like this. So any oxidized blade, any colored blade, I absolutely don't recommend it. And even worse than that, you might even be able to see like the cleaning the bottom of these things. Look at that. Our housekeeper isn't cleaning these. I think they gave up on them. And the acrylic outside shells, they start to scratch and get cloudy anyway. And they just start to look worse and worse and worse. And so that's why I bought a bunch of new knife blocks from at home today. So just thought you should know. Do not buy these Home Hero knife sets anymore. You'll regret it. And one thing I'm still doing, I don't know if you guys were here 7 years ago, but I did once tell you guys that you should take bed frames and you should bust out the center and install a metal bed frame. So you got the headboard and you got the runners and the footboard, and that the center is more solid. I stand by that. I just had a bed break again because my team didn't do that. They just installed a regular bed with the wood slats, right? And the wood slats busted out. And you know what? That's the worst thing to have happen. Because if you think about recovering from a failure, what time does a bed break? And in what circumstance does a bed break? If a bed breaks because a couple's trying to go to sleep or trying not to sleep, and it's 11 p.m., and now the bed doesn't work in a frustrating time of the night, there's no recovering from that. You don't send some dude over to fix the bed while the chick's in lingerie, like this has happened before. You just don't, like it's just bad manners. If you can prevent a bed from ever breaking, ever, it's the one thing that you shouldn't have to have a redundancy for. So you want it to be like non-breakable. And this is why hotels have that box under the bed. If you ever go look under a hotel bed, you'll notice it's wood on the outside. Like there's gonna be like a 4-inch lip, and then there's gonna be a wall, right? This serves two purposes. That box is an unbreakable platform. It's this big wood box and the mattress goes on top of it. That won't ever break. And second, the housekeeper doesn't have a hard time getting under it. People aren't gonna lose stuff under the bed. And how many of you have a regular bed that has, you can stick your arm all the way under it, all the way through, and people can leave stuff under there. And then the next day or next week, there's like dust bunnies or somebody's socks or something. So you guys should take a regular bed that you buy on Amazon and modify the bed frame support so it never breaks. because out of all the things that can like go wrong during a reservation, that one will go wrong at the wrong time, and it goes wrong all the way, and you'll just get a cancellation. There's really no there's really no recovering from it, and people will get really, really messed up. They'll get really messed up about it. If you buy cheap couches, you're gonna notice that the cheap couches come with like really cheap plastic feet. You'll want to make better feet for them or reinforce those. And so under a couch, you can do the same thing. You can actually make a box. It doesn't have to be that strong because this is a supplemental thing. You can basically measure the length of the feet, and you can like say the feet are 2x4. That makes it really easy. Then make a 2x4 box that goes under the couch, so that way when people bounce on the couch too hard, it doesn't like break through and like break the supports under the couches. Because I bought some cheap, very pretty couches on Amazon, but they were so cheap that when people sat down, just crack within like 3 or 4 days. So aesthetic furniture sometimes is not durable, but you can absolutely build some supports for them. This is some stuff that I've learned in my last couple of weeks of trying to fix stuff that's gone wrong at my properties. But the piano idea, I'm really excited about this going well. So hopefully I can report that putting pianos in my spaces leads to like more particular, like a certain type of customer. I'm hoping to see a change in consumer type, lead time, and of course reviews that say we love the piano. That's what I'm really looking for. And the two takeaways. If you're a host and you want me to do pricing for you, click the link down below to learn more about Helm. And if you want to pick up a property and you don't want to get finessed, right? You want to know that you're going to have an Airbnb property without fuss. As a coach, you will either get a property because I coach you to get one, or I will hand you one. Like I'm going to contractually obligate myself to giving you an Airbnb property, and you could sue me if I didn't do that. So unlike this whole Staley fiasco, there's some of us who will actually put our name on the line and make sure that you're successful. So if you're new to Airbnb or want to be new to Airbnb, arbitrage specifically, I'm not going to buy you a house, right? That's a little over the top. But there's a link down below to talk to my team to learn more. Narissa, don't say sorry for anything. Never say sorry. I don't know what you maybe said before that, but you had a question. You checked that most of your views are showing way higher than similar listings, and how does it translate to bookings? Well, do you have less bookings than normal, do you think? Because I've noticed that views don't necessarily translate to bookings. If you already have a lot of bookings, you can get a lot of views, but your calendar is not available. If you've got a lot of views, but not a lot of bookings, that means that your hero photo and title were good enough to get clicked, but they changed their mind along the way, which means you maybe have some ugly photos. I want you to think about it like this. Let's imagine that you've got 3 beautiful photos, right? And then the 4th one was a photo of a dead body lying on the floor of your Airbnb, or proof that your house was haunted, right? If that actually existed, then somebody would click on your listing, and by photo number 4, they would be mortified and they would not book because there's a bloody body on the floor of your property. And to be less dramatic, this can happen. You can have a really ugly photo of your laundry room. You can have an ugly photo of your kitchen. You can have just really silly, crappy photos of your bedrooms, right? Your first photo got a click, and then you talked them out of it by the time that they got to your 5th or 10th photo. A lot of hosts do that. That might be why you have a lot of views. If you're not getting booked fast enough, now here's the combination. Your photos could be talking people out of your listing, or they could just be talking people out of your listing at your current price. So far future, 3 months, 4 months from now, you may be just genuinely overpriced. And very few people will click on one listing and be done. So for example, let's go back to doing this. This is a really weird way to do a live stream, guys. But let's say somebody clicked on this one listing here because they were considering this one, okay? So we're looking at this one listing. They're like, okay, this one's cool, not completely sold yet. Let me look at this one too. And so now we're shopping, right? I'm talking to you. You're one of my homies. We're talking about spring break. We're talking like shoulder to shoulder at the laptop, right? We're like, this one's kind of cool. All right, well, these beds are kind of ugly though. I don't know, man. I don't know if I could hang out with you in this bedroom, bro. Like I don't know if that's for us, you know? And then we're looking at this other one and go, yeah, this one's super cool, but I don't know. It just seems like a little too like blue. And, I'm like more of like a green guy, And so here's what happens. They go, yeah, do we want this one or do we want this one? And they go back and forth and they hem and haw. And this happens all the time, right? Very, very rarely are you the only listing being considered. So I want you to think like this. Whatever you have, as attractive as you are, they will still open up a second or third listing. They absolutely will. So you're still gonna do the side-by-side comparison thing. So even though your listing could be nice, your listing could still be overpriced for a period of time, and now you lose preference because they still will always click a few listings. They'll always click a few. And what you need to consider is, how likely am I to be losing bookings because I'm just more expensive than my competition for the few listings that get clicked? And if that's the case, that might be your far future problem. You're not getting any bookings 2 months or 3 months out because you've done this, I'm accidentally overpriced for 3 months because I don't want to undercharge, and then you race to get all your bookings last minute. That probably is your problem. That's just my hunch without seeing your listings or whatever. I see this all the time with students, right? They don't understand in the context that their listing isn't good enough to charge $200 per night more or something, right? So consider that. With that said though, I do coaching every Saturday live, one-on-one. If you ever join Cracking Super Roast, we'll do that. And if you guys want me to do like I should do a free one. I should do like a free one at least once per month. Why not, right? I'm gonna do live streams like this anyway, right? So if you guys are interested in attending a free like Zoom, like the same one I do with my students, let me know in the chat. Maybe let me know what day of the week is best for you guys to attend. I'll probably be there for like 3 hours or 4 hours, just doing a Q&A, looking at your listings and everything else. I haven't been to the gym yet today. And for my new lifestyle, that is not cool. So I'm gonna go to the gym. I really appreciate you hanging out with me for a while, guys. This has been kind of fun just to kind of unload my day at you. Stay tuned for more. And yeah, check those links in the description if you'd like me to do your price, if you'd like me to do your pricing, would like me to price your listing. There you go. Love you guys. I'll see you on the other side.